Do you feel like it's easy for you to know how you feel about things, or?
This is Ayana, and something pretty cool about Ayana is that she was actually on Netflix's dating show, Love is Blind. A couple months ago, Z and I had the awesome opportunity to actually interview Ayana about her personality type, and after a very careful 2.5-hour profiling session, we learned Ayana is an ISFP personality type. In today's video, I just wanted to share with you guys some unscripted sound bites that popped up during our profiling session. We hope today's real-life concrete examples can help you get better insight into how strong introverted feelers like approaching things and caring for others.
Easy for you to know how you feel about things, or difficult?
No, it's usually pretty easy. One thing I've gotten complimented on quite frequently is that I've been able to explain or communicate exactly how I'm feeling, even if it's like a complex feeling. People have said that I deliver the truth pretty gracefully, because one thing that I am going to do is I'm going to deliver the truth. Like, you're going to know how I'm thinking and how I'm feeling. I don't know how to keep that shit in, so it's just yeah, I'm just spilling it all out anyway. Plus, I just don't like bottling things in, because I've recognized in the past that it makes me blow up. So yeah, I usually am pretty clear on like how I feel about things, and if I'm not, then usually I'm like ruminating about that one thing until I have clarity.
How do you feel about like changing how you feel for other people? Like if people are like, oh, you shouldn't feel like that.
I don't think that's a thing. It's like you feel how you feel. It's like you feel how you feel. The way I've always thought of it is like feelings sometimes feel uncontrollable, but they're usually like a compass. They're not the only thing you're supposed to use. You're supposed to use both logic and emotion, but your feelings are there for a reason. Like, you need to analyze why you're feeling that way so you can better, apply logic and then make a sound decision.
So let's say someone is opening up to you and feeling emotional.
I think the way that I try to understand people is usually through similar situations that I've experienced. I'm like, oh, I understand that. Like, if I were in your scenario, I feel like I would also feel that way, or like I would also react that way, or so it's usually me and my feelings and how I think I would feel, and usually if it's something that I can't relate to, then I usually don't offer any form of advice at all. But usually if it's something, and most things I feel like I could somehow relate to myself, then I'll like offer something. I'm like, oh, I understand that, like that makes sense. I'm typically pretty empathetic, but I don't feel responsible for other people's feelings. You have every right to feel how you feel. You feel that out. That's not my responsibility. I'm here if you need support. However, like, I'm just gonna mind my business. This is how I feel about it. And now I'm able to separate those things. But before, like, I used to just take on everyone's stuff.
When you say you want to help everybody, you want to take on everyone's stuff, is it a bit like Nancy, where she's like, oh, I'm the mother, I want to take care of all of you, and I just know what everybody's need.
Not that much.
Right?
Well, I have to like really give a fuck. I give a fuck to a certain extent, but then if I get too exhausted, then I'm like, yeah, no, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to deal with that on your own. I'm tired.
It seems like this idea of almost like a personal identity, learning about who you are, is something that's exciting for you. You like encouraging other people to just be themselves and learn about themselves. Is that fair? That's a topic that you really like helping people with?
Which one would you prefer? To be yourself or speak your truth? Like, speak accurately and true, or be absolutely just authentically your full expression?
Okay, that's really hard. That's really hard for me to start.
Both of them have an element of being yourself.
Yeah.
But one is almost like an emotional type of it, being like, I want to show up in the way that feels right to me, and where what I'm doing, like, it's just in line with who I am. And the other one is more like, it's not about expressing emotions. It's more just, I want to be blunt and just say what I actually think.
Brutally honest. It doesn't have any emotions behind it. It just is.
Fun. That's no fun. I think the first one. I feel like you can't be brutally honest about things and not take into emotion. I feel like emotion's so important.
Why though? I mean, if someone is telling the truth. I don't know, have you watched season 4 of Love is Blind?
Yes.
Someone like Paul, who's just he's just a truth generator.
I could not be.
Yeah, or like Bartiz, where he was like
these facts are true.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, you can't lie. Those are actually true evidence of
So I've been that, and that never really, plays out pretty well. Because people usually don't take that well. It's like you have to take into the emotional factor and acknowledge that first, and then once again acknowledge the emotion. Like you have to validate people in order for your message to be digestible. Because I feel like at the end of the day, when you're communicating with someone, you want your message to be digestible. Otherwise, is it even really true communication if they're not understanding what you're saying?
It seems like you're saying, in order to be actually myself, there has to be emotions factored in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because even if you're being blunt and saying your thoughts, if there's not the emotional component, it's missing like a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I agree.
Gotcha. That's funny seeing how certain topics just like light you up and you're like, no, this is important.
It's very clear when you feel strongly about something.
If someone told you what you should care about,
that would piss me off.
Like in the group, there's an unspoken social contract.
Oh, if I do this, then I can get more screen time. I'm not supposed to talk with that person because they might be a bad person on the show.
Okay, if it's a rule, even an unspoken social construct that doesn't align with my morals, then I won't care. For example, being in the pods, and if someone claimed someone and they're like, oh, well, this is my person. In my mind, I'm like, fuck that. Like, we're all here. We're all here today. If I have a connection with them too, then like, it is what it is. Like, I don't care. When it comes down to stuff like on the show, like, oh, if you do this, like, you'll get more screen time. Like, that goes against my morals of like acting some way that isn't me. And like, I won't care. Like, I'm not doing. For example, producers will try to get you to say certain things or do certain, and they'll do it in the slightest way. Like they'll go, oh, Ayana, why don't you talk about this? And they'll say verbatim what they technically want you to say. And then they'll say, oh, but say it in your own words. And most people would fall victim to that. But usually I'll say, but I don't feel that way. Like, like I don't feel like that. And they go, well, say it in your own words. And then I'll literally say it. And they go, oh, but can you talk about? No, I just said what I said. Like either work with me or don't. If you're gonna try to force me to do things, I'm not gonna do it. And I'll just sit here and stare at you, which I have done before. At my wedding day, they were trying to get me to say certain things. I was like, guys, this is my wedding day, and I'd literally just sit there and stare. And they go, Ayana, do you want to talk? No, I don't. And I'm a very easy person to work with, but you have to work with me. Like, you have to take me into account. If you don't, I'm not working with you.